All right, welcome to everyone that is here today. My name is Keith Green, and I am the Educational Director this year for OCHAR. I also serve on the board. And I just want to thank you all that are here for attending today's session. We're going to have a wonderful session today. Our presenter today is Lori Register, and she's going to give us a lot of great information on how to price these properties when we get ready to put them on the market using Rpr. Lori, take it away.
Terrific. Thank you, Keith. Good morning, everyone. And it's great to have all of you on board. I am going to share my screen, and then I'm actually going to turn off my video to ensure that my system doesn't break down here. I've been having an unstable morning, according to Zoom. But I feel great. I'm happy to be here. Okay, so I wish we could do a show of hands. You know, we're coming at this from the perspective that you already know a little bit about RPR. If you don't, feel free to jump in and ask questions at any time. We have a small enough group that we can really be casual about this and help one another out. If I don't have an answer to your question, I will go and get it and get back to you. So let's jump in with the Rpr CMA. I took the liberty of finding a that I thought might be a good example. And of course, this is your Rpr home screen. Here's my sign-on, Lori Register. And, you know, these are all your shortcuts. Here's Create a CMA if you just want the wizard to come up right away and walk you through it, but you can figure that out. I'm going to take you through all of the nuances of this. So, okay, I'm going to pretend I am the super duper realtor from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and I'm going to list this property in Chapel Hill. So let me find the property details page on it. And if you're familiar with RPR, you know this page well. We can look at photos, the street view, overhead views, historical photos, which I always like. Sometimes at RPR, we call them hysterical photos because you've all been around the block and seen what these properties can look like sometimes. So here's the list price. This, you know, if your property is not listed yet, it will have maybe the last sold price. It'll say off market here. This is the RVM. If you're not familiar, and we covered this in our last session, getting started with RPM, the Realtor Valuation Model, or the RVM, is copyrighted by NAR and RPR. And what makes this valuation model different, you can read this, but I'll give you the cliff notes, is that it integrates public records information with listing data to come up with, you know, of course, these super duper algorithms, and they come up with, they think, is the value of the property. So RPR is saying this property is worth about $422.80. I'm going to show you throughout the course that you can change that RVM based on your knowledge of the market. You can refine the value of the property based on your knowledge. And, you know, when you did a walkthrough with the owner and you found out all the things they did to it, and we can create the CMA. So here's all the information, more on the RVM, you know, hit these little icons if you want more information. RPR has a 5-star rating, so they're pretty confident about that RVM number. They'll tell you how much it's changed in the past month. And look at this, in the past year, 46%. Ay, ay, ay. So there's a lot more to read about the RPM, but the basic facts, I can see that it was last sold on October 27th, 2400. Interesting, huh? The description, all the property facts, the schools, how the property has changed prices, AARP, room details, you know, the information is very extensive. Okay, so, oh, here's listing details.
Lori, they're not seeing it. Can you scroll up some? They're not seeing it.
They're not seeing what, my screen?
No, they see, yeah, they don't see the details that you're reading. So you have to, because some people may not have the RPR open. Like I have mine open, so you have to scroll down to see, where you start talking about the prices to schools and things of that nature. All we
Oh,
see is the
okay.
picture.
So here's the property facts. Can you
Yeah.
see that?
No, all we're seeing is that picture of the house and property summary.
Oh, I wonder why. All right, I'm going to turn off my video here, so
Okay.
maybe it'll be more responsive. And let me, is it frozen?
It looks like it might be.
Do you see it scrolling up now?
No, it's not scrolling up at all.
Oh my goodness, what is going on here? All right, let me see. I go to a different page. I'm going to refine value. Do you see this new page?
No,
Oh, let's see. Let's try this.
It might be your internet. I don't know. Okay, now I see that page. We can refine values to that.
Okay, well, let me see. Do you see me scrolling now?
Yes, it's scrolling.
Oh, right. Great,
Okay.
great, great. Okay, I refreshed my screen.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, regroup quickly. Here are all of the facts about the property. Here's the RVM that we were talking about. Do I have the same property? Yeah. The range, here's the description, the property facts, and they're not always accurate. You can change them here. And it's important for me to note that whatever changes you make to this property in our RPR is your account. So it doesn't change the property information for all of RPR. If one of your colleagues go in, they're not going to see that you've refined the value. So this is where you own your account at RPR. So price change histories. On the right, we have a lot of market data, room details, interior, public information, exterior, really goes on and on and on. Oh, the owner name, Open Door Property Trust. Legal descriptions, tax information, deeds, right? So I'm going to scroll up here quickly. Don't get dizzy. Quite a bit of information. And of course, maps is a whole nother class unto itself. But you can go through the history of the property. You can pick up some charts that your client might appreciate. And we can refine the value. And this is what I want to walk through with you. I can go here and refine the value, or jumping back to the summary page, I can refine the value right here. So let's say, here's the basic facts. Okay, we've walked through, they still have 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and it's still 1,600 square feet. So we're not going to make any changes right there. But if we wanted to, and we said, oh, yeah, they put in a 4th bedroom, you can see that the value goes up $55,000. What a market, right? So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick with what we have. So this is the most important part, refining the value. And what's terrific about this in RPR is that we hear from realtors all the time about sellers pushing back on the value of their improvements, right? I bet you guys have war stories about that, where a seller, I actually talked to a seller once, and he was telling me that he did $10,000 in landscaping 10 years ago, and he wants his money back. And I said, nobody's going to pay for your flowers, Jam. So with RPR, you can say to them, listen, this data platform that we use has the macro algorithms from an organization called Hanley Wood. And Hanley Wood, down to the zip code, will determine the value of those home improvements made. So for example, you can choose all of these. Let's say they did a major kitchen remodel mid-range. So you don't have to determine what's mid-range, what's high-end. you can use this description here. So, okay, I agree. It's a mid-year, mid-range. And they did the job in May. What are we in 22? Let's say they did the job 2 years ago. And, you know, let's hope the seller's going to tell you the absolute truth about what they paid for it. So let's say they paid $50,000 for it. Come over here, I add that kitchen is now worth almost $25,000. Okay, does that make sense to everybody so far? And that number is reflected up here on the right. This was our original estimate. They have a new kitchen. This is what RPR believes the property is worth right now. We're going to have more opportunities to refine. You can refine it by needed improvements. Needs a new roof, tack on some money for that. And then you guys come in here and decide, okay, how does this property rate in terms of local market conditions? Well, I'm guessing you have a severely hot market. The home exterior, let's say that's equal to the comparable properties in the area. Interior, well, they have a new kitchen, and so I'm going to boost that up a bit. The lot size, it looks kind of equal. The view, let's say they really don't have a good view, you know, they're in a row house. And so probably privacy is pretty down here as well. Now, this can be a bit subjective, right? But again, it's going to use your expertise, and you're still going to be able to change that number. So we are up to 448,851 now on a value for Granite Mill Boulevard. I'm going to go over here and let's create our, oh, shoot, I did that wrong. Sorry, guys. So we refined the value. Let's go over here and create the CMA. I went straight to the reports, sorry. I think you're really going to appreciate this because you saw the flexibility in refining the value. We're going to go through more flexibility, but there's still that solid foundation to carry you through, so you're not all over the map. There are 5 steps to a CMA with RPR. I have as deep as you want, or you can just like do the surface and go through it. So for example, you start with confirming the home facts. And if I'm going too fast or too slow, guys, let me know. Maybe Keith can look in the chat there and see.
Yeah, I was looking in the chat. One of the questions was, what was the difference between the refined value and CMA? But I think you answered that question. She said she got the answer.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. So because we can change the value of that property, both in the refined value and in the CMA. And I'm going to show you how. Okay. So the first step is to confirm the basic facts. And we kind of did that earlier. We know that those are the facts for that property. Okay, let's jump into finding comps. Let me see, my video is off. Good. Okay, I'm going to put my screen down here. Okay, here's your subject property. And I like that this is always up at the top, that you can remind yourself, but you know your property pretty well. I can go in and I can say, I just want to run a comp for a known property or properties, and you can add them there. And I want to ignore everything else that comes up, and you can do that. Or you can search an area for several properties based on a lot of filters and maps. So again, go as deep as you want, or just use whatever RPR pops up for you. This is where the RVM comes in, and I'm going to show you that. Okay, so I'm going to go for single families. And when I run my comps, I like it to be for closed properties only. You expired withdraw. I'm going to exclude distressed here. So you see you have those variables. And I'm going to do it for within this last 6 months, but you can do it to within the last 18 months, or you can type in your own date range. I just want to see what closed in the last 30 days. The market's so crazy. But I'm going to do 6 months. I don't know your market very well. So then I can choose any of these. So my property is a 3-bedroom. So I'm going to come over here and say, show me all the properties that have 3 to 4 bedrooms and 2 baths What's my square feet? 1625. So what do you say? And if anybody wants different variables, feel free to shout it out. So I'm going to go 1300 to what? 18? What the heck? We'll go for it. I can search only for a certain price range. I don't want to do that. I can search by living area, square feet, year built. This one I think was built in 2015. So I'm going to go 2010 to 2020. Okay, so here's my search. Oh yeah, keywords. You can search for keywords. You know, maybe a pool or something, but so many people enter their listing descriptions in so many different ways that they describe things that sometimes that's not 100% accurate, but you can try it out if you want. So I can either reset here because I've screwed it all up, or I can search. But before we go there, see this little map legend here? Here's your subject property right here. And here's the properties that are for sale in the area. This map is so flexible. Right here, I can zoom in or zoom out, right? I can go over here and I can draw a shape, box, radius, or polygon. So I'm going to say, I'm going to draw a radius and see the little miles marker going up and up to show me everything within 2 miles of my subject property. Okay, and then I can search in that area or edit the area, and I can save it. And on your homepage in Rpr, remember I showed you where my photo was at the top right? If you go there, it'll show all your saved areas, the reports, your recent properties. And if you'd like to see that at the end of the session, please let me know. Okay, so that's our custom radius. And then you get a polygon and box. I can use a custom area. And again, when you save an area, it will, and then you go back and to do something else, you can pull it up right here. Or you can create a new custom area and then save that. Then you can search by geography. I won't read these all to you. Hopefully you can all see it. If not, let me know and I will increase my screen. So somebody might say to you, you might say, show me all the houses for sale because my client wants to live in this school district. So I would do school districts, micros, intermediate. And please don't stump me today by asking me the difference between minor, micro, macro, and intermediate. I mean, that's just beyond my pay grade. So I can also reset the map. So I'm going to reset it. I'm going to zoom out. And whatever this map is, it's what it's going to show me based on my criteria. So let's do search. Whoa, look at that active market. Oh, again, now we have the little blue squares. So everything is recently closed. Can you imagine if this also had pending, active under contract, right? So we do not want these this number of properties in our comp analysis. And we also don't want to go through all of these. So once I get that, I can grab the map and move it around. So now I'm going to go back here and I go, oh, I really need to draw my map. So I'm going to go right here. Search in this area. And there we go. Okay. So I see now, if I scroll down the page, there are 35 sold properties to be used as comps. Check this out. See this star right here? That means that this is from the RVM. That this property was used in the algorithm to determine, remember when I showed you on the summary page, the property details page, what that RVM is? If you ever want to know, you can go, oh, they used this property. But it's my choice whether or not, once I've looked at that, to add it to my comp. So for example, okay, Here is the first comp, 509 Beacon Ridge Boulevard, and you can see this data about it. Pretty closely matches, doesn't it? Well, I'm not totally sure. So you can look in here. People are always interested in association dues and things. Well, I want to know more about this before I choose it as a comp. If I click on it, it takes you to the property details page. And you can see everything about it, including in here, huge kitchen island for prep and entertaining. Then I come over here and I can see all the photos. Super helpful. Okay, so that stays in its own tab right there, so you don't have to push the back key. I go right back here and I go, yes, I definitely want that in my comps. All right, so in the right, we are populating the list of our comps that are going to be in our final seller's report. So, I can just say, oh, I just want that comp and nothing else. Here, I can update the valuation and close. But every time I add a comp, this number will change. Tells you what it is per square foot, or I can remove all the comps. Okay, so let's see, let's just add, and we'll go through. And what do we want? 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, you choose what's going to be best for your client in that comp. All right. Well, remember I was talking about the flexibility? RPR is saying the average of those comps is 391,300, the value of your subject property when compared to the others. I can still go back in and edit that if I want. So it's saying, but the range could be this, and this is per square foot. So, okay, I'm going to take that. But then I can also go in here and adjust the comps individually. This is a fun page too. So here is on the yellow column, that's your subject property. Here are the comps that I chose, and I can go back and look at listing records historically to see what they look like. I can just look at public records, but I'm going to stick with the most current listing record. Here, I can change how they're going to appear in my report. I might want this one to come first because it's the strongest comp. So you just move them around, right? And here's the next key because I chose more comps than fit on the page. But I think this is what you'll want to know. So I can go into these bigger photos. I wish they were even bigger because I can't see. And I can go through and one by one compare the interiors of the properties and the exteriors. And then based on that, so you see the value in the per square foot here. Based on that, it's saying to me, rate the comps compared to the subject property. So I'm going to say this property, and I'm just playing around, is way better. Well, look what happens in red. The adjustments you made to your comps affect the subject property. Yes, it does. And it came down $7,700. Then I'm going to say, oh, this one is a lot worse. Oops. Okay. So you see how the number keeps changing. Let's say this is totally better. Okay. Here, this is important, right? This is the proximity, and see how the little map pops up. If you're going, where is that? Oh, okay, there it is. And I can go back and say, okay, I don't want that comp anymore. But here is all the comparables of everything in that house that's used to relate value. And I can say, include this one in my report, include, you can enter text. I have to go to the next. Oh, I chose a lot of comps. Okay, my subject. All right, so the adjustments that I made brought down the value of my property by 26,000 or 27. And I'm not sure I'm thrilled about that, but I can either go back and readjust everything, or I can update the valuation and close it. And that number is reflected right here. So here's the result of my analysis with a range. I can still edit it. I can still go in and go, I'm the realtor, I'm the subject matter expert. I think the property's worth 4,059. If I want, I can enter, if my seller, if I want to, make them feel empowered and I want a range to show up and we can talk about the range, I might go, okay, it's worth 4,035 to 4,099. Okay. And then we have the original, what it is now. We're going to save it. Okay. That's our CMA in quick demonstration. Let's recreate our report. I wish I knew how many of you have used RPR reports, but they're lovely and persuasive and customizable again. So these are the reports that I've run recently. Yours will show up as well, and you can choose report options, delete it, post it on Facebook, rerun it, or view whether or not people that you sent it to, because we can email this report directly to your client from RPR. We can even see if they opened it. I like that one. So it defaults, because we're doing a CMA, it defaults to a seller's report. Look at this. It can be 81 pages long. Believe it or not, I've heard from some realtors, they may have someone who's highly technical or, really likes the details. They give them all of the pages, but your client, so you can choose all of the elements of the report that you want. So, maybe you don't want the AARP, maybe you don't want historical photos, mortgage records, property history, sales and financing, market. Some of your clients, they might not want all of this. We certainly want our comps. And if you need an explanation of what these things are before you start deleting them from your report, just click on the I buttons and it will show you what is entailed. Okay. And they don't need to see market activity or listings. I'm really going to unclick these things, guys. Oh, I want the recommended pricing strategy. And I don't know about seller proceeds. And well, I always include where our data comes from. Subject property, photos to include. You can include main photos. I choose all because people are visually lean toward visuals. Side-by-side comparisons. I always say only side-by-side. I can include my notes. I didn't choose any notes. And I can suppress values and more things. So my report has been significantly reduced in terms of the number of pages. This is important as well, and it's kind of a new feature, I think from last year, but you can add your own custom pages to your listing presentation, including your RPR, seller's report. But say you want to add your testimonials, maybe some of the services provided by your brokerage, your bio, you can just add them to your reports, and I'll show you where to do that. And I think you can add up to 5 PDFs and your broker can add up to 5 PDFs. Okay. Oops, sorry, I'm scrolling too fast. On the right side is what the report will look like. And notice, of course, all of your branding here. And you can go further to, okay, I don't want any of those things, or I just want my name, photo, title. Well, yeah, you probably want all of these things. Okay. Now you can show page numbers, but if you add a bunch of pages, I would take this off because it won't add a page number to your custom PDFs. But this is where you manage custom pages. So you can read through this, PDFs no longer than 10 megabytes, but here I can go and choose my files. I should have a file, and then just save it. Okay. So here's my profile. Here's my logo. Of course, you will show up and your logo will show up. I can edit my profile here. And again, you see up here's my photo and all of my work that I mentioned recently, where you can go in and get everything that you've been working on. But I can change my photo and my logo. Make sure that when you're in your profile, that you have all of your MLS listed and your brokerage listed appropriately. And then you probably want to click on receive RPR updates and news. I don't have it clicked because I write most of those and I'm sick of seeing them by the time they're published. Okay, where the heck was I? You're welcome. Send me back to my CMA, please. Okay, so we're all ready to send our report. If I'm going to send it directly to my client, I put, hey, Jill and Joe, here is your seller's report. Okay, so I can display it now and download it as a PDF, or I can email it to my clients, to my broker, to myself. Reports expire after 30 days. So they always say, please download a copy of the report for yourself. I'm going to display it now so all of you can see it and hit run report. So depending, RPR is about 900,000 users. So depending on how many people are running reports at the time, it could be 30 seconds, or it could be 5 minutes, I think. But you notice that this little orange number 1 appears up at my reports. And I say, okay, this is what I have pending, my seller's report. If you want to know more about all the reports through RPR, you can watch this little video, Picking the Right Report. In fact, all of these headers, marketing, here's how to use RPR for prospecting for residential and commercial clients. If you are promoting your listing and you want to do a 1-page quick property flyer, you can create that, a commercial property report. Oh, and you can also, if you have a dog or something, you can turn off that bell. I like it. It gets my attention. Okay, are we ready? Here is the report. How many pages do we have here? Okay, we have 14 pages. So again, your broker or your association or your MLS is going to show up here depending on the agreement they've made to partner with RPR. There's me on a good day. And here is your seller's report. So here's our subject property and the refined value, the comp analysis, current estimated values, all the home facts, extended home facts, directions to the property, homeowners, schools. We can even run school reports. If you're interested in those, let me know. Remember this, you don't have to include this in your reports. Remember, you get to choose everything that goes in. Property photos. And with RPR, the first photo you load is the photo that shows up in the main lineup. Here's your comps map. Here's the legend. Remember, we did not choose distressed. Remember this, all the side-by-side comparisons. Here's my recommended pricing strategy. Sold price comparisons, details of my value analysis. And this is where RPR gets us data. Now, we do draw our data from dozens and dozens and dozens of sources. So we don't include them all here, but we do include the major sources such as the Census Bureau, the MLSs, the CIEs, public records data, ESRI. If you notice this demographics and trends data, this is another class as well. ESRI is one of the world's largest tapestry segment producers, where we can go into RPR and say who lives in a neighborhood, how they spend their money, what their profession and education is, are they married, do they have children, where do they buy their coffee, what kind of cars do they drive. It's pretty interesting stuff. And so it's great for relocations, and people say, I want to live in this kind of neighborhood. Well, you can use the tapestry data. And if you're interested in that, I'm happy to go over that as well. And then here's how the data is updated. It all comes in at different times. This year, we had a very difficult time getting the data from the US Census Bureau, but the whole world is not really on track. So, you know, we had realtors calling and saying, when is the census data going to be updated? And we're kind of at the mercy of the people who provide us the data. But I think listing data is updated every odd number of minutes or something. Okay, so that is Realtors Property Resource CMA, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Questions, concerns, you can take, I will unmute, or you guys can unmute yourselves if you'd like. Okay, well, that's terrific. Either I've overwhelmed you or we've covered the basics of what you want to know. So in closing, guys, we did cover a lot. You may want to refresh or dig a little deeper. Go to, take a screenshot of this if you like, blog.narrpr.com. And here is our Learning Center. This is terrific. It's an interactive section of our blog that will teach you everything you need to know. So I am a residential agent. I am a beginner. I want all of these ebooks, printables, tutorials, webinars. I want to know everything about CMA, and you'll notice how the screen will change. And here is our newest webinar, RPR for new members. You can sign up for that webinar, or you can go into getting started. And here's a webinar, a video, a couple of webinars, and this is a video tutorial. And what I like about this is I don't like to watch 60-minute playbacks on webinars. I don't know what it is. It's like watching a recording of a football game. It doesn't feel the same, right? So I like these video tutorials because I may have already gone through my intro to RPR. I've already created my account. I've already done all of these essentials. Now I want to get into, tell me about property details again and what that all means. Well, it's a 5-minute video. Or I can go, well, tell me all about schools in RPR and how I can run a school report and not get myself into trouble. And remember, I mentioned that maps we kind of just skim through maps. Maps is huge. This is our longest video. It's 10 minutes, but it's a super tool for you. So there's your support. And of course, the RPR Help Center is open 24 hours, 7 days a week. It's based in Omaha and 365 days a year. So anytime you get stuck, and of course, I can't find the phone number. I'll find the phone number and put it up on the screen. Wait, it's probably right here. Contact RPR. There's the support number right there. It should be in big, huge, bold letters somewhere. Okay, well, with that, I'll let Cub take it away, or Keith, to say farewell to everybody.